Okay, hello everybody. Today we are going to talk about the issue of misinterpretation of knowledges and how knowledge operate. When especially in South Africa, where South Africa has African continent has suffered so much about colonialism, where African knowledge system was seen as a primitive, and by people those who think that they are paragon of the moral. So, during the colonialism, many African scholars, because they were under oppression of the colonialist, it was difficult to express yourself culturally. Black Africans were seen as a savage and less human beings. So that on its own had contributed to the collapse of moral fibers. Today, I'm going to talk about the issue of the so-called proverbs of Africa. Some people they call this maele and then so on and so forth. These proverbs that are used in Africa have got moral, message as well as guidance that actually are transmitted from generation to another. These proverbs are also essential to convey sacred message or associated with esoteric knowledges that it convey within that particular communities. But many Europeans, because they are outsiders, they are what you call they outside. They don't understand what is the meaning of what is the use of proverb within African context. So they tend to misinterpret them for their own benefit, where to a point where they create what is called savage people. I'm going to give example about the Sotho-Tswana people. So you look at this so-called aspect of African culture who are not blacks. They tend to abuse, misinterpret interpret this proverb, which are very essential for our community to add, these knowledges that is very rich. But they don't care. They just come and give their own colonial misinterpretation as black people were savage that need to be assisted. If they are savage, why would they come and live in the continent? Okay, I'm gonna give you example of this proverb, whereby you look at how these scholars misinterpret African proverb. You see, African proverb are used to guide, rebuke, and and give information. For example, if somebody says, this is an example, there is this very rich proverb in Africa about bana ba kgwale. There's also this proverb about ngwana malome nyale kgomo di bele leshakeng. European colonialists, when they hear the word ngwana malome nyale kgomo di bele leshakeng, for them, because they are actually don't understand, they are not African, don't understand African culture. They think if somebody say ngwana malume nyale kgomo di bele leshakeng, he say marry your sister. No, it doesn't marry your sisters. They don't say marry your sisters. When you take money from your own community and go and spend in another communities where you don't live, and then your community will remain poor. That's what they say. It's better to spend money within your own people than outside. That's why you marry people that you can relate to. You understand their culture. You know what they do. But Europeans, they say marry your sister is incest. They are lying. They don't understand black cultures. Ask black culture. Even our university must teach these things of proverb of African, dear Maele, as Africa, because even they don't interpret. We don't have people who help our people. You see many professors lying like, hey, they say marry sister. No, when they say I repeat, they don't say marry sister. You marry within your own group, to protect your cultures. All culture do the same thing. And another thing that is very controversial is like this one say, mamutsi ubonela mautwaneng. Mamutsi ubonela mautwaneng. Europeans don't know this thing. For them, it's like marry a kid. They don't say marry a kid. When they say mamutsi ubonela mautwaneng, it's like this. African people have got what we call cultures. So there's a stage of development in African cultures. There's a lycea, which when a child is very small, and then we've got and those lycea will Kharibe, Lisuburu, Litumasi, and you go to those stages. Now, people have got Ditaka. Ditaka is like the Wawairan. People who went to the same circumcision school, they become contemporaries. They belong to the same pato. So when you belong to the same patos, which means those are contemporaries. Let's say myself, if you're 18 years, you'll play with the people who are close to you. So Europe, that's why you find that during that period, when you attend initiation school, you attend a game with your peer. You only play with your peers. That's why, and you then be able to identify what is the quality when you marry somebody. Not because when you marry, they say you are going to have a relationship, maybe. No, that's Eurocentric ideas of racists that were able to discourage African people to tap knowledge on African knowledge system. Now, and this Mamuti Obonola Mahutwaneng is that when you play around your communities or people that you can relate to, you then be able to identify the quality of wife materials. You get my point? And then that's the thing. But European, when they hear this thing, hey, you marry sister, hey, it's incest, no. And African cultures, I repeat, African cultures don't practice incest. No, South African, yeah. Because African people have got what you call moral philosophy, known as Huila. Huila is like it's forbidden. There are things that you don't do. It's forbidden. So, bar Huila, Waila. So, even initiation school, many people don't know African culture is only one culture that forbids a person to sleep with people that you just meet on the road anywhere. Because it's a disease, it's whereby if you are not allowed to just meet a girl on the street and go in and sleep with them, whether they are everywhere you go, because it's believed that what about if that woman, Anali Moriti? Moriti is like in those who can don't understand Sotho-Tswana language, it's like not a spirit, but it's a kiliru. Liru is like a sort of bad lucky in that girl. They can use. I remember at some point in South Africa there was a Upper Balo where people were claiming that black people they want to sleep with the kids Q8. It was racist. It was not coming from Africa. We all know that people who come from this poor overseas country to come and sleep with young kids, young African kids are not blacks. Go to Google it on internet, you'll never find a black person, a native South African, having sex with the kids from other countries. These people having sex with young, poor black people, girls from the street. But these are the people that are supposed to help us in misinterpreting our philosophies. Hey, African culture. No, African culture is rich. When they say they say no, you marry within your own group and spend money within them that you can relate to them. All culture do the same. The only difference is that black people, unlike other cultures, like we don't want to mention those cultures where people marry kids. Those cultures where people marry kids when before the children go somewhere, he has to marry their own kids in those temples or in their own things. You don't find those things in African cultures because yaila, as I said, it's forbidden. It's avoidance rule. Like, okay, don't do this with this. You can't even sleep with the grannies in African cultures. Because or a widowers, granny, widowers, it's not accepted in African culture. So we need to, our African people must understand these things. It's like somebody say, Lisilu, it's not an insult. But because they don't understand why this thing like same thing, or evil thing, or cannot be repeated twice. For them, it's like when they hear the word in your no, they don't understand. They must study with black people. We have seen these things in many